Great. Oh, it's really good to be chatting, Louis. I wonder if you could say a little bit about how long you've attended church?
So as long as I can remember, I think all my life, here at Oldfield Park, probably 11, 12 years now. So as long as I can remember going to church, it's been here. And yes, I've grown up here since a sort of 7-year-old boy to now, where I'm at uni and I'm back here during holidays. Yeah.
So you've got Christians in your family?
Yeah. So both my whole family sort of are Christian. So my mum and dad and my sister Maddie. So we've always grown up as a family going to church, and the same as my nana and granddad. My granddad's a vicar, and so I've gone to church with them in the past, and so grown up in a sort of Christian household the whole way. Yeah.
Do you think that having Christians in your family and even people in ministry in your family, do you think that you were destined to be a Christian from the off?
I don't know. I guess it's a really difficult question because I think, well, God's always got a plan for you, so I think He's ready to use you in all sorts of ways, and there's sort of so many ways of ministry. I mean, there's the way God has worked in my life. I never would have imagined it. I never would have imagined what I'm doing now, even a year ago. I'm usually quite happy, sitting at the back of church doing the sound, and for me that's my ministry and that's the way I serve. But I think God just uses you in so many different ways, and it changes as well. You're not just fixed in one box. He's quite happy to use you in different spaces when you least expect it.
How are you being used at the moment? How is it different now to when you were just at the back on the sound desk?
So since I've joined uni, I've been a part of the Christian Union there, which has been really such a huge blessing to me as my first year at uni, just getting to know people there. And then I wouldn't know if I would say willingly, but it was suggested to me progressively that I should maybe consider running or putting my name forward to lead the Christian Union for a year. And at first I was very much no. I'll do secretary or something like that, somewhere where I don't have to be up the front or anything. But I was encouraged more and more, and after I prayed about it, I sort of gave it to God. I was like, God, well, if you want me to do this, you'll get me elected, and I will do it. But if you don't want me to do it, you won't put me in that position. So I went for it, and so I've taken over as one of the co-presidents of the Christian Union from about March this year until March next year. So yeah, it's really exciting.
So it's already started. We're in the summer holidays now, but you've got more things to go on to when you get back to uni. But being a Christian, it's not always easy, is it? And I think in recent months, I understand that you've come across a bit of opposition. And I know we're not going to go into details just because we want to be kind to all of those involved. But I wonder whether you could let us know a little bit about what that opposition was like.
Yeah, I've very retrospectively, looking back, just to see the way that God provides you and He won't put you through something that you're not prepared for. And very much in the time, I wasn't sure whether I was ready for it. It was the sort of situation was happening only days. I think it was about 2 or 3 days after I'd taken over as president of the Christian Union, and it wasn't something I thought I would be ready for. But the way God is so faithful, and He will push you. He would, your faith will develop so much through situations, but He will never put you through something that you can't deal with. So sort of the faithfulness and the sustaining nature of God was really important, and something that it made me realise afterwards. In the moment, you're sometimes you get very much tunnel vision in the moment, don't you, with a lot of things. But looking back and just reflecting on it, you just seeing that sort of the faithfulness of God.
What was it like at the time when it first happened?
Yeah, at the time it was quite scary, to be honest. Just you just worry, don't you, about all sorts of possibilities fly through your head about what could happen, or and how you should do things in the moment, and what you say in the moment and what you don't say in the moment. So it's definitely very stressful and nerve-wracking, actually. Not a lot of sleep was had that week, but yes, I think you just looking back, it's taught me lots about how to deal with tough situations and how to be reflective and prayerful, even when things feel like you need to be going 100 miles an hour. but just to take 5 minutes just to pray and just say, God, I feel like I'm at my depth, but I don't know what I'm doing. The song Oceans, by I think it's Hillsong, comes to mind, where it says, God, take me where take me upon the waters, where it's too deep for me. And yeah, that's.
Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior.
Looking back, it's actually it's a lovely song, but it's actually a really hard one to sing if you really think about the lyrics. I'm actually saying, have I asked God to take me into this place? And yeah.
Yeah, so it almost felt like you were being taken into a really horrible place, a hard place.
Yeah.
But you spoke about, God's faithfulness in that place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there any points in that period where you considered giving up on Christianity? I'm
not sure whether I would say I would consider giving up, but it was more, I think, because it was so fast paced and it was developing so quickly, that I felt there's not enough time to sit down and even consider those sorts of things. But I think even sort of the immediate afterwards, the weeks following it, was very much, I've put myself in this position. I didn't have to be involved. I didn't have to be in this place, and I could call it a day and say that's it. But I don't know what it was that it never particularly crossed my mind. And it was more, I think I was in the moment and just keep going and just doing what's right, and I had people around me which supported me so well. But yeah. And how do you think God sustained you at that time? You mentioned people. How were people helpful in coming around you at that time? There was lots of people that the people who were involved with the situation with me was a huge blessing, because they knew everything as well, and also them being Christians my own age, just being able to talk really frankly and saying, why is God doing this, or what is going on, was really good. But also the support of local churches in general, but specific people in the church I go to at university, who would have me round for dinner and just allow me to chat openly, because they have nothing to do with the situation. They were just a listening ear, and older, wiser Christians, so they could just speak Jesus's truth into the situation, which can be really hard to see when you sort of cloud over and you're just focused on the next steps, rather than actually giving it to God and laying it down at the cross and saying, actually, God, what do I do here? So it sounds like you felt a bit out of your depth, and like you're a bit not sure what you should be doing, but everything was happening so fast. Yes. But God put good people around you, which is a real blessing. And do you think there was anything about God's character or about the promises that you see in Scripture which particularly helped you at that time? I think I've got a Bible next to me. I'm going to grab that. There was a couple of verses that really, or a couple of chunks of the Bible really, that stuck out to me quite a bit. And there's a bit in 2 Corinthians 12, verses 9 to 12, and I'll just read this now, because it just I read this verse while it was all going on, and the same with another bit further on in the Bible. But it says, "But his answer was, 'My grace is all you need, for my power is strongest when you are weak. I am most happy then to be proud of my weakness, in order to feel the protection of Christ's power over me. I am content with weakness, insults, hardships, persecutions and difficulties for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong.'" And also the whole of James chapter 1 talks about rejoicing in persecution and trials. And it's just knowing that God is so much bigger. He is unimaginably bigger than all of it. And that, the enemy will only go, the enemy will try its hardest when things are happening, when Christ is moving on campus, and that sort of thing, the enemy will try even harder then, because he can see the good work that's being done. He can see that people are coming to know Jesus, and that's when he's going to try the hardest to break that down. But yeah, just knowing that it is really, really hard to do when you're in those moments. To rejoice in persecution feels so wrong, and it's really hard to do in the moment. But when you do it, and just actually being able to lay it down across, there's a song, I can't remember, it might actually just be called Lay It All Down, but I'm just saying, lay it all down at the feet of Jesus, lay it all down at the cross.
Lay it all down. Lay it all down at the feet of Jesus. At the feet of Jesus.
Because we can't carry the weight of what's going on, but God can. God carries the weight of the world. So just knowing that God's so much bigger than everything else, anything else that's going on, God has it in hand, and God provides, and he is a sustaining God, and a loving God.
Yeah, that's so helpful. I can hear your rejoicing. Even though you're talking about a hard time, I can hear your rejoicing in who God is and what he did in that time. And yeah, it's really lovely. Yeah, it's really exciting to hear how your faith has been growing recently. I know you got baptised just before you went away to uni, and I just wondered, we were chatting, I just wondered, how has your testimony changed, do you think, since then, when you got baptised and then going through this trial?
Yeah.
Do you think it has changed the way you feel about God and the way you feel about your own faith?
Yeah, I think my faith has become so much stronger. So I was baptised in June, and I went to uni in September. And just after I was baptised, I very much went through a point where I was just like, oh, okay, have I ticked that box now? Is that done? Do you know, is that, faith completed? That can be put to one side. I'm off to uni next. That's the next big thing. And it sounds very simple when I say it, but God's timing was so perfect there to be baptised just before I went to uni, and then in university, the first few months being surrounded by faithful Christians, my own age, which was such a blessing, and being welcomed into a loving church was just a huge blessing. And I think because I was baptised, that was the starting point for my faith, and God knew that in September I was going to be going to university, and I was going to be surrounding myself by Christians, and then God knew that in 9 months later I was going to go through, there was going to be trials and persecution, but yeah, I think just being more reflective of my testimony is just the way of God's timing, actually, which can feel really strange. I remember in August feeling a bit flat in my faith, not really, no one was going on. It's like, oh, uni's the thing I'm focusing on, not, I wasn't thinking about my faith when I was going to uni, but God had that all planned out. The perfectness of God's timing, it's been,
And knowing roughly what you're going into when you go back to uni, that you've got the content of your degree as well as the way that you're co-leading the CU. How do you think these promises that you've touched on today, how they're going to help you or equip you for what you're going into?
Yeah, I feel so equipped. I can look back and I say if I didn't have the last year of uni, I would in no way be where I am today with my faith, because I've had so many blessings and times of which have been really hard, that I now feel ready to go into September and to talk to Christians, talk to first years coming in who are going to be in the same shoes that I was in just a year ago, and for those who already know Christ, be able to build up their faith and introduce them to Christians who want to surround them and love them, and also to reach out and share the good news to people who don't know Jesus yet. I'm very much excited now. I'm really looking forward to September and October, which are going to be really busy and I'm sure very tiring months of not much sleep, but really good times of evangelizing on campus, and also just connecting with the people who haven't seen since April, May time will be really lovely as well.
Thank you so much, Louis. Thank you for sharing that with us, and it has been a real blessing.
Yeah, thank you very much.